and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Superhero Wednesday, where I'm sitting down. I don't know why. I thought, fuck it, I'll sit down for this video. It doesn't make a difference. And today's subject is all about my favourite character of all time, my favourite thing created of all time, and that is Spider-Man. And which actors played him best? We've had three quite good and amazing portrayals of Spider-Man on the big screen. But I'm going to go through Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland and see who I think played him the best. And Peter Parker, Spider-Man and Peter Parker, who did both jobs well. I don't know if it's too serious and formal sat down. The whole point was I can sit down, you can get the Spider-Man backdrop, but you can't see it, I'm in the way. So yeah, let's kick things off with Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire was awesome. He was great. I know he had some really corny bits. We all remember the symbiote part. He didn't like that. But as Peter Parker, I thought he did it well. I thought he was nice. It was nice in the aspects that he showed the vulnerability of Peter Parker when he needed to, like when Uncle Ben died and stuff. Maybe his crime was a little bit too much. I like the way he played off the relationship with MJ. I like the sort of nerdiness he brought to it and somewhat shimmered and shy and timid before he became the Spider. I like that aspect of him. So I thought he was a fine, okay, cool-ish to a certain extent, somewhat cringy Peter Parker. But as Spider-Man, I thought he was pretty alright. I know it's not as hard to tell because the acting doesn't come out as much, but I thought he had the nice little one-liners. I thought he had, when he was in dire need and his suit gets a bit ripped up and beat up, he does it. The scene on the train in #2 where he's holding it back, I thought that was pretty cool. I think he knocked the ball out of the park, if that's the right saying, pretty well, but I'd say it was average to okay. It did like a 6.5 to me in the whole thing, but he did help sort of reshape and redefine superhero films and lead it in a certain direction. They were quite serious, but they did have a very comic booky feel to them. And that's not all his doing, but he helped towards that. So Tobey Maguire is probably my least favourite out of all three of them, but he definitely did his part, and he did fine, and he did well, and he gave good performance of my favourite character. So let's go on to Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield, I thought, as Peter Parker and Spider-Man, knocked everything out the park. He ticked all the boxes to me. I loved his very teenagery sort of aspect about him. I know he was playing somebody a lot younger than his actual age, but the whole skateboarding thing, having his music in, having like a sort of emo-y type phase, I thought that was cool. The nerdiness wasn't there as much. It was still there. He was enthusiastic about like science and stuff, and he did all these little developing his web shooters and all that kind of stuff. That was great, but he didn't feel as sciencey and stuff and nerdy to me as Tobey Maguire did. But I still thought the whole Peter Parker thing come together nicely, and it was amazing the way he interacted with Gwen Stacy in this. His whole love thing was really awesome. The comedy of stuff was there. Like again, his one-liners when he's as Spider-Man was great. The scene where in the first thing, Red Spider-Man 1, where he's in the tunnels and he's got the webs all lined up and he's waiting for a ping. He's playing it on his mobile phone. I thought that was all pretty cool. But it felt, and again, it was very serious. It felt very personal. I think the way he portrayed him anyway, very personal, especially when you were talking about the aspect of him losing his parents and then the Uncle Ben stuff. I thought it was really cool. Favourite bit that he gave performance actually come from the Amazing Spider-Man 2, which has been slated. I love the fight between Electro. And something about the Electro fight I love. Green Goblin was crap. It looks like he's just got leprosy. It's horrible. But the scene where the little boy stood there, he's going to take on the Rhino because Spider-Man's not there anymore because we've just seen that dramatic death of Gwen Stacy, which comic book fans would have knew was coming, but it happened, and he comes back and he says, "Hey, thanks for doing a good job, blah blah blah. I'll step in." I fucking love that moment. And even though I hate that Rhino adaptation, I thought it looked crap. But like the scene at the start with where he gets Rhino, he's collecting everything, I thought it was all great. I thought he played Spider-Man well, and I thought he played Peter Parker really well. But he's only my second favourite because we're going to go on to Mr. Tom Holland. Actually, there's another one thing I want to point out with Andrew Garfield. I love the moment, the scene where he doesn't even say any lines, but there's the moment where he's over Gwen Stacy's grave and the seasons change in the background and he's there, and you can really, for me anyway, I really felt like Andrew Garfield was not able to come to terms and handle this loss of the girl that he loves. I thought he did that really well, and he didn't even say any words, he just stared at the grave. And that moment for me, because it's not just because it's about a character that I love, but the whole thing just felt really personal and raw, and it made us blubber like a bitch. Yes, Tom Holland, the newest member of the MCU. No, not the newest. One of the newest. Black Panther's out in a couple of weeks. One of the newest members. And when the Avengers Assemble come out, this kid was taking his GCSEs. I can call him a kid because he's younger than me. He is just one hell of an awesome dude. I fucking love Tom Holland. I think he's not only has he ticked all the boxes, but he's exceeded my expectations of what he could bring to this role. Right, as his Peter Parker, he had the whole teenage aspect locked down with his mate. He was, you know, not shy, but getting bullied. He was a little bit timid and stuff. The whole falling in love thing, and he's like, oh no, there's a girl I really like, and all that kind of stuff. It was just absolutely amazing. Trying to find his father figure and trying to find his place in life and his role as the Spider-Man and stuff. And that whole relationship he plays with RDJ as the father-son sort of role that I see it as. I thought he did that really, really well. It made me truly believe that he is Spider-Man. Like all the Spider-Man comics I've read throughout the years, I felt like he was Spider-Man. And as Spider-Man, coming to terms with getting used to his powers and getting used to these new abilities that he's got and what he needs to do and learning of what it truly means to be the Spider. Like the greatest scene I've seen in cinema, because not only it's to do with a character, my favourite character of all time, but the scene where he's buried under that rubble and he's crying out for help. It's like, someone please help me, please help. This is why I'm starting crying like a little bitch in the cinema. And he looks down in the puddle, sees the mask, and he's like, no, hang on a sec, I'm Spider-Man. And it's that moment it clicks. It's like, he can do this. He has the will. He's got the power. He can do this. He just needs to try. He needs to give it his all. He does it. I was like, oh, I'm going to blubber now thinking about it. Oh, I have to say two there. I have to say two there because it was such an amazing scene. I don't think anyone else could have pulled it off just like him. He looks like Peter Parker. He looks like Spider-Man to me. That film, Homecoming, was a Spider-Man comic book. It felt so close to its source material more than any other ones. And the first three did feel very comic booky, but this, for me, it just hit home. It felt all right. It all felt natural. It all felt beautiful and amazing and great. I love the performance he gives. He was fantastic, and that's why he's my favourite Spider-Man and Peter Parker of all time. And there we go, visuals. That was my favourite Spider-Man ranked. Well, the first film to the third. Well, the first attempt to the second attempt to the third. Well, the current. It goes from my least favourite, my middle favourite, and my favourite. So it's kind of somewhat in order. But to be fair, though, all three actors give amazing jobs, give amazing attempts at this role in portraying this character that I love and so many other people love. I thought all of them did fine. None of them were like, oh my god, that is horrible, I hate them as them and I hate them, whatever. All of them paid homage to this character. Oh, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, not that you need my acknowledgement and my recognition, not that you need anything from me, but thank you guys so much. You did absolutely amazing. I love what each of you have done for the different roles you've given for this character. I think you all done an amazing job, but Tom Holland, you got number one there because you're a fucking legend, and I hope for as long as Spider-Man goes and that you want to, you always play Spider-Man. I'm not happy. I will not be happy if you get replaced. Well, I might be. Somebody better may come along, but I fucking doubt it. But yeah, all of yous are legends, amazing. My favourite superhero of all time. I do have the Spider-Man tattoo on the leg because Spider-Man is the best, and these guys have portrayed this character amazingly. So visuals, just keep being the Spider, keep being you, and keep on. I was going to try to do some sort of dramatic ending there where I was like, but I said visuals keep on. It didn't work because I was coming off a chair. But visuals, keep you. I messed up now. Keep being you and keep on keeping on and stay after the outro because we're going to have an Avengers cutscene. It'll probably be something really dumb because this is all coming off just straight off the top of my head. But visuals, keep being you, keep on keeping on. Secret ending time. What's going to happen at the end of the next MCU film? Black Panther. Oh, there's a crossover with Lytton. Shared universe, Pokemon and Marvel. Ah.